Yashomati Nandana Prajaparanagara Yashomati Nandana Rajaparanagara Gokularanjana Kana Gopi Paranadana Madana Manohara Gopi Paranadana Madana Manohara Kaliya Jamana Vidana Kaliya Jamana Vidana Amarayana Amyavirasa Vipinpuranda Navinanagarvoro Navinanagarvoro Namsivajana Subhasa Satana Sura Rajajana Palana Sura Kumjanasana Rajajana Palana Sura Kumjanasana Nanda Gotana Rakho Govinda Madhava Navanita Pastara Govinda Madhava Navanita Pastara Sundarananda Gopala Sundarananda Gopala Yamuna Tatachara Gopi Vasanohara Rasurasika Kripa Moya Rasurasika Kripa Moya Shirada Balava Vendavana Natava Sakati Vinodasaya Sakati Vinodasaya Yashomati Nandana Rajapatha Nagara Gopi Paranadana Madana Manohara Vipina Purandara Navinana Garvara Jana Pura Pura Nartana Govinda Madhava Navanita Pastara Kamuna Tatachara Gopi Radha Balava Bhakti Vinodasaya Amala Hari Namani Adilaka Apati Vinorasa Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Gauranga Nityananda, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Rama, Hare Hare. Shri Prabhupada ki jai. Shri Santa Gaura Hari ki. Shri Jagannatha Baladev Shabada ki. Shri Radha Gokulananda ki. Go Premanandi. Oh, glorious to the assembled devotees. Oh, glorious to Shri Guru Naranga. Oh, glorious to Shri Prabhupada. That always reminds us of the, I guess what we hear at least, of Srila Prabhupada's last days in Vrindavan before he brought to an end his manifested pastimes. How Prabhupada, although there were doctors, of course, Ayurvedic doctors were coming, astrologers were coming sometimes, at least not so much coming, but astrological charts were being done by devotees. Sometimes Prabhupada would say, let's have some fun, but whatever it was, sometimes they were there. And nothing was really, Prabhupada wasn't responding very much, you could say, the normal response to these medicines. And Prabhupada was very insistent on one medicine. One medicine in particular was the real medicine. And he would quote this line in this song, Amala Harinam Amyavilas. Jai Shri Shri Jagannatha Baladev Subhadra Ki Jai. This is our real life and soul. This is the chanting of the names of the Lord. This is our real life. Everything else may be prolonging the physical life, but our real life is what really counts. The body of skin and bones, as Prabhupada would sometimes say. But the real life is chanting, preaching Krishna consciousness, chanting. And right to the end, Prabhupada showed this example to give Krishna consciousness to others. Not sure. So we'll read from Bhagavad Gita. I don't know if there's a verse tonight. Is there any special verse? Who normally gives class at night? Is there a class at night? You're not here all the farm. Maybe, like many ISKCON temples now, there's no class in the evening. Not official. I mean, maybe at home or some program. But in most temples in ISKCON, there's not an official class anymore. It used to be standard. Of course, most of the devotees, you probably know, in the early days during Prabhupada's time at least, mostly devotees lived in the temple. Grihastas also lived in the temple. It's funny. When I joined the temple in London, the temple president was married. He had 2 children. They were living in the temple, a small temple. Just a building, the The boys just purchased again Bury Place in London. They just purchased it just last week actually. And that's where we joined. And there, even the Grihastas would live in the temple. And Dayananda, he was our president, Dayananda Prabhu and his wife Nandarani, and they had 2 kids, I don't remember their names, 2 girls. Nandarani lived with the 2 girls in the Brahmacharya ashram. They lived in the ashram, bunks, just staying with the other girls there. And Dayananda lived with us in the Brahmacharya ashram, sharing a room, like 10 of us in one room. More than that, there were 15 Brahmacharyas in one room. Small room. And we just keep our bags there mostly. And we'd sleep wherever we could. And one boy would sleep in the shower, one right in front of the toilet, another one on the landing, wherever you could find a square place to lie down. No one had their own bags or anything, no pillows, no nothing. Just find somewhere to lie down and sleep. It was a communal situation. And mostly the movement was like that, and everybody attended everything. You couldn't stay in the temple unless you attended everything, from Mangal Arati in the morning till the last Arati at 9 o'clock at night. Everyone had to attend everything. It was quite different to today. If you can get someone to attend something, you're doing pretty good. It's like, so was someone coming or going, nothing like that. 5 classes a day we were having. 5 classes in Shastra every day. No one had their own books, nobody. Because there's no technology at all, as we know it. And nobody had books. So the only way you get to hear the books was to go to class, because there's only 1 copy of each book in the temple, reserved for class. You had to hear real careful. There's no time for reading in the day, practically. Full engagement from 8:30 through till 7 o'clock, all day long. Break for prasadam only. It was not allowed to take rest during the day. There was no question of resting during the day. You had to somehow or other find time at night to sleep. If you didn't sleep, that's it. Literally, it was like that. There was you wouldn't catch up the next day. You just had to carry on. It was quite intense. Father said it was like the army, like being on the war, on the battle. I remember in New Zealand when I was there, there's this, I don't know what it was called, but there was this one special program that somebody started. It was actually an international rugby player started it, of arranging for people to swap occupations, and spend a week in the army. You may be a fireman, but you spend a week in the army, and the fireman spends the army guy spends a week as a fireman, or you spend a week in different occupations. So we were one of the ones they put on the list. So we were always getting these guys coming and checking it out for a week. Sometimes we have a fireman coming, army guy. We had an international rugby player stay with us. One of the key, the All Blacks, if you know anything about New Zealand. Famous rugby team. Different people will come and stay in the ashram. For a week they shave up, do everything along with the devotees. Get up in the morning for Mangal Arati, go on Hari Nam. Some of them were really into it. They really enjoyed it. The army guys, he said, I can't handle this. He said, I want to go back to the army. This is impossible, unbearable, getting up at 4 in the morning, taking the cold showers in those days, sleeping on the floor, it's like, God, the army is like holiday resort compared to you guys. It's like being in a holiday resort. Going out on the street for like hours on end. Class, now what's next? And then kirtan, japa, one thing after, clean the floor, now on Hari Nam, back for lunch, straight out again. It was funny. But it was fun. It was really fun. Why? Because I guess we just accepted it as Krishna's mercy. I'll read a verse from the Bhagavad Gita. I was just thinking before I came in what to talk on. A word came to my mind, and the first reference I came to this word, there's words mentioned earlier in the Gita, but this is the first one that came to my mind, is the second chapter of the Bhagavad Gita, text number 7. It's a very significant verse. In many ways. I mentioned one verse that triggered off my, let's say, conviction to a large extent yesterday in the class. This verse is really a verse which transforms the direction of the Bhagavad Gita. It transforms the direction of people's lives if they apply it. It's the, that verse, key verse. Om Jnana Timandasya Gananjana Shalakaya Chakshurmritam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namah Shri Chaitanya Mano Bhistam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Gadamayam Dadati Svapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Tapata Kamalam Shri Guru Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagajatam Sahagana Raghunathan Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadvetam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakam Vitamscha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dina Bandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sutidevi Pranamami Hari Priye Vanchakalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhyevacha Patiranam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadha Shivasadi Gaura Bhaktivinoda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Shri Prabhupada Ki Jai. Hare Krishna. Thank you for coming this evening. Busy schedules you all have. Kuala Lumpur is not quite what it looked like 50 years ago. 50 years? 40. 45 years ago. Whatever. When I first came here. 42 years ago. 42? 84? Yeah, 42 years ago. Some of you will remember Kuala Lumpur 42 years ago. Bit different than now, isn't it? I mean, if you just came back after 42 years, you would not know where you are, isn't it? Emil, he went for a swim and he ended up on a tour of Kuala Lumpur today. He didn't even get his swim, he just went on a tour. He was shocked to see, he thought he was back in New York. Now, I haven't been downtown for a decade almost, but I'm sure it's a bit different than what it was in beginning of 84, January 84. There was hardly any high-rise buildings, just a handful only. Near the station there was a handful of buildings, the old station. Brickfield's nothing. And nothing then. Maybank and a few others started coming up, but there was nothing up to that point. It was just all low. I think Globe Silk Store was the tallest building in town. And there you can't even see, I don't know if it's still there even, if it's still there or not. It's like a small building, isn't it? You can see it. Unrecognizable, it's just hidden. That was like maybe 8 stories tall or something. 8 or 9. That was probably the tallest building in the city centre, besides these few next to the station. It was all quiet. The Klang Road, Jalan Klang Lama was just like all shanty town all the way. Just some shacks, wasn't it? A few buildings, mostly it was just little shack stores. Some little roads and little trees everywhere. The road was all kind of half broken. It's like pretty different than it is now. And there were no, other than the federal highway, federal highway through PJ to Klang, that was it. There was nothing else. Maybe they just built a bit of the Seremban highway. I think it was just starting then. And that was it. There were no highways anywhere else. None. No, I know what they're all called. This one, that one. Highways everywhere. Flyovers. these metros. It's like a high-tech situation. It's completely different then. It's really almost like rural, almost like a rural city, isn't it? It's almost like rural. People, many Indians dress what we call traditionally, isn't it? How the Indians, all their dhotis on, walking around. Still that was there. Progress. Times change. We have to live with times that are with thee. So let's read this verse together. I'll read once, you repeat. Karpanya dosho pahata sabhava. How many of you know this verse already off by heart? I'm sure quite a few of you know it. I mean, just out of shyness, you two gentlemen in the back there are not putting your walking sticks up. Put your walking stick up. You know this verse. Jagannatha knows it very well. And some of you ladies know it too? Quite a few of you. It's one of the prime verses of the Bhagavad Gita. And, you know, it's not so much you could say, direct philosophical, but it's the most essential point of the Gita in one sense. Karpanya dosho pahata sabhava. Prishchami tvam dharma samudachetaha. Yashreyashan nishchitam brohitam me. Shishaste hamshariman tvam prapanam. Karpanya dosho pahata sabhava. Prishchami tvam dharma samudachetaha. Yachtreyasya nishchitam brohitam me. Shishaste hamshariman tvam prapanam. Karpanya dosho pahata sabhava. Prishchami tvam dharma samudachetaha. Yachtriksha nishchitam brohitam me. Shishaste hangsharimam tvam prapanam. Do you devotees like to chant? A couple of boys and a couple of girls. Yashreyasya nishchitam brohitam me. Shishaste ham harimam ham papanam. One more. Oh. Karpanya dosho pahata sabhava. Prishchami tvam dharma samudachetaha. Yashreyasya nishchitam brohitam me. Shishamte hangsharimam tvam prapanam. It's amazing, even though some of you may be, of course, familiar with Sanskrit, but I'm not. But it's such an amazing language, isn't it? How it's all sung. Everything's sung, beautifully sung. I don't know. Generally, in most languages, that's not the case. But Sanskrit's like that. It's sung, it's all song. Beautiful meters. Rhyming meters. Very attractive, very purifying, very peaceful, and everything about it is perfect. The word for word, Karpanya, miserliness. Because the word kripa comes from this word. In a sense, I don't know, maybe it doesn't. How would that derive from that? Miserliness, kripa is mercifulness, being very merciful. Dosha. You all know what dosha is. What does dosha mean? Huh? Pancake? South Indian pancake. South Indian pancake, huh? I don't know how else to describe it from an Englishman's point of view. Spicy, not spicy, savoury South Indian pancake. The dosha. Upahata. Oh no, they got it wrong. Somebody put the wrong translation in here. Huh? Don't speak Tamil. By the weakness. Upahata. Being afflicted. Svabhavaha. Characteristics. Prichchami. I am asking. Tvam. Unto you. Dharma. Religion. Samuda. Bewildered. Chetaha. In heart. Yat. What? Shreyaha. All good. Syat. Maybe. Nishchitam. Confidently. Bruhi. Tell. Tat. That. May. Unto me. Shishaha. Disciple. Te. Your. Aham. I am. Shadi. Just instruct. Mam. Me. Tvam. Unto you. Prapanam. Surrendered. Prapanam. Translation purport by Srila Prabhupada. Arjuna is speaking to Krishna. Arjuna has put forward so many, from the material point of view, very nice arguments. He would be given a lot of support by any pious person, you could say, isn't it? He even based it upon, I've heard from scripture. He wasn't just speaking out of sentiment, but he also referred to the scriptural injunctions to justify his arguments, some of which were perhaps very much overly materially, let's say, material compassion. But he also quoted Shastra in terms of the breakdown of society, how structured society was for facilitating the higher purposes of human life, how important women were in society and how they were properly protected. Everything was geared towards a different purpose. It wasn't geared towards sense gratification. It accommodated sense gratification, but that was not the objective. The objective was liberation. The objective was self-realization, inquiry into the nature of the absolute truth. The sense gratification was there, but it was regulated, restricted, and according to scriptural injunctions. Cultured people would follow the standards of scriptural injunctions. In this way, society was molded along those lines for the higher purpose. Everything was geared towards that. Somebody's mobile or something, is that a mobile? Okay. If you have a mobile, please turn it on. Is that right? Is that right? Did I say that right? Please turn your mobiles on and make sure the volume's up full. Okay. Is that right? And send a few text messages to make sure that people send messages back quickly. The mobile phones. We've all probably heard this before, but in 1976, maybe 5 or 6, Prabhupada was in Los Angeles temple. He was having maybe a tour of the BBT, and Rameshwar Prabhu, BBT trustee, maybe Sanyastan, I don't know. But he was explaining how this new machine, Srila Prabhupada, was so good, it was called a telex machine. I don't know if you've got telex machine or not. No? You have to get a telex machine. It's the latest technology in communication, isn't it? Telex machine. You know, you type things onto it in your own room. You could type it on, and if the person at the end has a telex machine, after some time, the message will come out from his telex machine. It was a really revolutionary machine, which Rameshwar installed in the BBT and said, Prabhupada, it'd be a good idea if all of our temples all over the world would install these, then we can communicate with each other like this accurately. Previously it was telegram, and telegrams were 50% incorrect. You get a telegram and it was almost inevitably wrong. You know, it wouldn't be what you said put in it. It would come out something different, you know, different date, different time, different place even. You know, you're telling, arriving, Prabhupada, arriving, and they send a telegram to Australia, arriving such and such a time to Sydney. There was no mention of Prabhupada coming. They never knew Prabhupada was coming in Sydney. When he left Malaysia to go to Sydney, the devotees didn't know that Prabhupada was coming. He just said, they thought the GBC alone was coming. And they saw Prabhupada walk out the plane. They didn't know he was coming. The telegram didn't explain it. It was a really inefficient means of communication, you could say, but that's what we have. So Prabhupada said in answer to Rameshwar's suggestion, he said, no. He said, no, do not do this. Do not install telexes in all the temples. You know why? Some of you know. Anyone know what Prabhupada said? He said it will simply increase the gossip. What would he say about modern mobile phones? I don't know. I have no idea. I mean, you know, we can use everything in Krishna's service. You have no choice. I just can't imagine Prabhupada walking around with a mobile phone, you know. Can't imagine. And nothing's impossible. I just can't imagine it, you know. It's just hard to imagine, you know. Where's my mobile? Shruti Kirti, bring my mobile quickly. You know. Anything's possible. I can't imagine it. What to do? So this verse, Arjuna's now, after putting forward all these proposals, and Krishna basically replied to him, what are you talking about, Arjuna? What's coming on? What's happening to you? What's happened? What are you talking about? This is not words, not befitting. Anyway, Arjuna, nonetheless, he was overwhelmed with grief, basically speaking, compassion. But at this point, just before the complete collapse, he does make a very significant, Prabhupada describes this as really the significant point of surrender, Prapanam, surrendering. We're always fighting to try to adjust things, to get our own way in this world. We don't like to surrender. We want to have our own way. We want to be in the center. We want to be recognized. We want to be honored. We want to, you know, whatever. Different types of obstacles on the path, we're very attached to them. But at this point of time, Arjuna's getting confused, not sure what the right thing to do is. So when that's the case, this is the answer. Now, he says, now I'm confused about my duty. It's interesting to use the word duty. The word is dharma, and in the translation, word for word, it's religion. Prabhupada, someone at least has put the word for word religion. Dharma is usually translated as religion. But in the verse, it comes over as duty, or duty. It's duty. And duty is a broad word. It's, in this case, it means literally, what am I supposed to do? What is my responsibility at this moment of time? What is the correct course of action at this moment of time? What should I do? According to religious principles, ultimately according to you, Krishna, but what should I do? Now, pretty much nobody in this day and age really knows their duty. they're following their senses or social pressures or whatever it may be. But it's not, in the Vedic culture, if you want to call it that, there's, various activities, you could say karma, vikarma, akarma. A karma is basically acting according to your nature, under the guidelines of religious directives. Karma is not just action and reaction, it's following religious, it's activity, but it's acting according to religious direction. But hardly anyone's doing that. More or less everyone's engaged in sinful act. Sinful activity means action which is not monitored by genuine religious principles. Varnashram is based upon religious principles. So anything outside of that is a sinful activity. You read in the 3rd chapter, Arjuna asks Krishna, what is it that causes a man to act sinfully? Even though you're kind of against your will almost, you know it's wrong. What is it that causes you to do that? And what does Krishna say? Kama Esha, Krodha Esha, Rajaguna, and so on. Lust only, Arjuna. But what is that sinful urge that Arjuna is asking about? It's not just lusting over a woman or something. It's the whole principle of the 3rd chapter is acting according to religious principles, doing your duty according to religious principles. Acting against that is sin. It's vikarma. What is it causes a person to perform vikarma, or sinful activity? That's the sinful activity or the duty which is not being performed by people in general. They're not following that principle. They're acting whimsically, materially. They're not following the directive of the Supreme Lord's will, scripture. So, dharma. Of course, we all know the word dharma means much more, Haribol, much more than just what we term religion. It's something, religion, nowadays is a very shallow understanding of what it means. But the real essence of the word dharma, which doesn't have an English equivalent in one word, descriptively, Prabhupada usually describes it as that which cannot be taken away. That which cannot be taken. That, in other words, that which is permanent. Something which is permanent. And it refers particularly to the characteristic of whatever it's applied to. And Prabhupada would always give simple examples like sugar, for instance. Anyone can understand. And we use the word dharma to describe the characteristic of sugar, which is, what's the characteristic of sugar? Pardon? Sweet. If it's not sweet, it may be different degrees of sweetness, but if it's not sweet, you would not call it sugar. It may look like it, but if it was bitter or salty, you wouldn't call it sugar. So that's the constitution. You could use the word dharma of sugar, or chili, or fire, or whatever it is, objects. They have their constitution. The living entity also has its constitution. So the idea is, and the idea of Bhagavad Gita also is to understand the constitution of the self. Not just the condition of the self, but the constitution of the self. And that's Dharma. To understand that which is constitutional. Whether it's the Supreme Person, his energies, but it's the constitution is to be understood. So in the case of practical work, there's working, in this case, duty. Haribo. In this case, duty is according to the nature. You see in the 3rd chapter, particularly, Krishna deals with acting or working according to one's nature and according to the various work ascribed to one according to one's nature. It's nothing to do with birth, it's nothing to do with necessarily these social pressures. It's according to your particular nature, acting according to your nature, but not just karma, but karma yoga, doing it in relationship with Krishna, by following the religious principle for performing that work, dharma. So he's lost all composure. The reason he's lost composure is because he's thinking against his nature. When we're any situation which is incompatible, it means imbalance. And that's what's happening in society today. Basically, people are imbalanced. And they go crazy or they do stupid things. They become frustrated, they turn to intoxicants, all sorts of things. They become maddened, working like asses day and night. Of course, none of you do that. I'm sure none of you are doing that. Very relaxed and just doing the minimum work and spending all your time in cultivating pure devotional service. Everybody knows what a rush we're all in, isn't it? A race almost, isn't it? It's like a race. No time. Pressure. So much pressure, stress, anxiety. Life is so much like that nowadays. So basically it's imbalanced. We're not acting according to our true nature. Or we are, but we're not acting, it's not balanced, overdoing it or something. So one's duty is to act according to one's nature, which Arjuna wasn't doing, therefore he's lost his composure, he's become unbalanced. Because of miserly, now one say miserly weakness, because what is this miserly weakness? He's seeing everything in relationship to himself. Miserly weakness means we see everything, even scriptures, even the Guru, in relationship to ourselves. And we see the Guru, we see the scripture as a means to justify what we're doing or improve what we're doing, but from our own, self-centered point of view, to achieve our material goals, name and fame or whatever our goals may be, or wealth. We don't see it from the purpose of scripture, or the purpose of Krishna's words or the Guru's words. We try to utilize them for our own purposes. So that's miserliness. So Arjuna was doing that. In this condition, he's recognizing this. He's recognizing that he doesn't really know what he's talking about. In this condition, I am asking you to tell me for certain what is best for me. Now I am your disciple, soul surrendered unto you, kindly instruct me. So he's taking the right course of action. This is called humility. This is the beginning. Spiritual life begins with humility. Otherwise it's just some exercise we're doing. But without humility there is no question of spiritual progress. As long as we, put ourselves in the center and so on and so forth, there's no question of spiritual advancement. This humility of recognizing I don't know. I may be very learned, materially speaking, or not very learned, whatever it is, but this understanding that actually I'm a fool. You can see in the teachings of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu when he met Rupa and Sanatana. Sanatan was a very, very, very learned scholar in many ways. Appointed by the government of Bengal because of his tremendous learning, his eligibility. But when he approached Lord Chaitanya, he said, I'm such a fool. People call me a learned man, but I'm a complete fool, number one. I don't even know who I am. Somebody who doesn't know who they are, what are they called? You could say a very polite word, ignorant. And perhaps that's what they use now. There are people in society, you ask them, who are you? They say, I don't know. They say, I'm, Bonaparte, Napoleon, or Jesus Christ, or, Muhammad Ali, somebody. They're not, but they're in this illusion, and you thought, this guy is crazy man. Somebody doesn't know where they're going. Where are people going? They don't know what happens when they die. They don't know. Imagine getting on a bus. They still have buses in Kuala Lumpur? They do. You get on a bus and you ask the driver, where are you going? He says, I don't know. What would you think? You may want to stay on it for fun, but if you're trying to go somewhere, you're not going to stay on that bus. Or if the passenger gets on and say, okay, where are you going? I don't know. I tell you, get off the bus, mate, get off. You have to know where you're going, huh? But people don't know where they're going. They don't know. We're just going. We don't know where. They don't know who they are, they don't know where they go, and they don't know where they came from. I mean, if you meet someone, they come to the immigration, they say, okay, who are you? I don't know. Where are you from? I don't know. Where are you going? I don't know. You're not going to get through the immigration. They're going to arrest you, put you in some special place. They're called crazy man. But that's what's going on in the world today. More or less, people are crazy. They don't know where they're going. But they don't admit it. There's no humility there. They try to say, well, we're going here, we're doing this, we're doing that. But Arjuna admits it. He said, I don't know what I'm talking about. He's admitting it. I'm bewildered. This is humility, at least the beginning of humility. Now I'm your disciple, and I'm soul surrendered unto you. Kindly instruct me. Shishya, he's taking Shishya, taking Krishna as his Siksha Guru. Krishna's all of he's Siksha Guru to all of us, through his teachings. Prabhupada writes, by nature's own way, the complete system of material activities is a source of perplexity for everyone. Whether we admit it or not, everyone knows is a very perplexing situation being in this material body. In every step there is perplexity, and therefore it behooves one to approach a bona fide spiritual master who can give us proper guidance for executing the purpose of life. All Vedic literatures advise us to approach a bona fide spiritual master to get free from the perplexities of life which happen without our desire. As we heard yesterday, the constitution of this world, according to Bhaktisiddhanta Maharaj at least, he said, it's turmoil and annoyance. You can't stop it. You never know what's going to happen next, and it's very disturbing. Dukalyam Shashvatam, it's the nature of this world. You can't take it away. Everyone's trying busily to change it. That's not the goal. We want to make it, and how do you want to change it? You want to change it according to how I think it should be. Not necessarily how it should be, but how I think it should be. And that may not even satisfy us even if we do. We don't really know any more than a child knows what will really make it happy. It only knows a little bit about immediate effects. It doesn't know the long-term consequences. The things we do to try to achieve immediate success generally have long-term consequences which are not very good. Generally. We don't know because we're ignorant. We don't know where we're coming from, we don't know who we are, we don't know where we're going, we don't know the effects, we don't know what the purposes are, and we're just acting according to our limited intelligence. So one approaches, in this case Arjuna is approaching Krishna to clear things up. What is the right thing to do? What should I do? There's a video out right now, been going around, and probably most of you have seen it. It's called, what's it called? The 9 Gates. The 9 Gates. Have you seen it? The 9 Gates. You've not seen it, the 9 Gates? No? Who has seen it, the 9 Gates? A few of you have seen it. It's none other than who's just arrived right now. Well, he's 2 or 3 hours ago. He just arrived in Penang. He transited through KL, but he didn't stop here. He's in Penang right now, so be careful. Dangerous, dangerous person. What's his name? Huh? Mahavishnu Swami Maharaj is in Penang right now. with the Harinam Ruchi.
It's got to do with 9 gates.
Huh?
What's it got to do with 9 gates?
Oh, he came out with this video called The 9 Gates. You have to see it. Oh my goodness. It's quite radical. Not for Mahavishnu Swami, it's not at all radical, but it's quite radical by normal ISKCON standards. And one of the catch lines there, what am I supposed to do now, or something, isn't it? Every now and again, Sankirtan, whatever his name is, the boy is in the video with Mahavishnu Swami. So what am I supposed to do? What am I supposed to do in the city of 9 gates? And bewildered, completely bewildered what to do, you know. Anyway, it's worth watching. The City of 9 Gates, it's called. It's a video. You've seen it, Dinesh? You saw it? I thought you put your hand up. Oh, have you seen the video? You watched it on YouTube. Huh? Okay, someone sent it. You've seen it anyway. All over Europe, everyone's watched it. They put it on Dandavats for about 3 hours and then it disappeared off Dandavats. They took it off. Somebody, I think it was on for about 3 hours. I think they didn't know. They thought it was some lecture he gave or something, you know. It disappeared after about 3 hours. I mean, it's good. It's good, but you know, be prepared for something very unusual and very different. The city of not that kind of Dandavats, exactly, in a sense, you know. I mean, death comes to everyone, I suppose. But anyway, City of 9 Gates. Perplexities of life. They happen without our desire. You can't stop it. Nobody wants it, but it comes. Huh? Who wants death? You have to be suffering pretty bad to want death, isn't it? Who wants suffering? Anybody want to suffer? Go to the doctor. We have our doctor, Shanti. Patient comes in. Yes, how can I help you? I want to be sick. Do you ever had a patient coming in and asking to be sick? Maybe some crazy person, I don't know. Please give me, what type of sickness do we like? I don't know. What's the latest sickness? I've tried that one already. I haven't tried that one yet. Give me that one there, over there, tuberculosis. I've not tried TB yet. Give me a dose of TB. Does anyone say that? Probably not. Maybe some people like to be old, but they don't know what it's like being old. They don't know what it's like. Take it for granted. You don't know what it's like when you're young. You don't usually, but these things come. You don't ask for it, but it comes. You have no choice. Death comes. Can anyone stop death? Not materially speaking. Bhagavad Gita, spiritual solutions. They come. You can't stop it. Now look, the forest fire that somehow blazes without being set by anyone. There's a cause, but it's not like someone necessarily went into the forest. Sometimes it's caused by the sun, you know, it's reflecting off of some object and it gets so hot that it just boom, blazes up. Maybe some glass or something. Sometimes that causes forest fires, just a piece of glass. Friction sometimes between wood can also do. Similarly, the world situation is such that perplexities of life automatically appear without our wanting such confusion. Nobody likes to be confused, do they? You like to be confused? Maybe you're so confused you're not sure whether you want to be confused or what. I'm not sure what he's talking about. I've got no idea what's going on here. Where are we? We're City of 9 Gates, or are we in the... what's going on here? What's this City of 9 Gates? What's this? Kuala Lumpur? Where are we? There's no 9 gates in Kuala Lumpur. What to do? No one wants fire, and yet it takes place, and we become perplexed. The Vedic wisdom therefore advises that in order to solve the perplexities of life and to understand the science of the solution, one must approach a spiritual master who is in the disciplic succession A person with a bona fide spiritual master is supposed to know everything. What does that mean, know everything? It means, what's it mean? Does it mean you have to know the capital of Afghanistan and how tall Mount, Count Kinabalu, what's it called? Kota Kinabalu is? Does it mean that? How many miles, how long is the flight between Timbuktu and, whatever, Vladivostok or whatever? Does it mean you have to know all this? How many pints of, blood are in the body of an elephant? Do you have to know all this? But he says everything, it must mean that too, eh? What does it mean? Dun, 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 dun. What's it mean? Should know everything. Pardon? Can you know everything?
Oh, Krishna.
No Krishna, Singeshwar says. What does Krishna say? I think it's in the 15th chapter, isn't it? Who knows it? What's the 15th chapter called? 15th chapter, text 19. I just opened it straight on that verse. Isn't that amazing? I just clicked straight onto it. 15:19. Who knows it? Don't use your mobile. Now, this is proof we're not God. Number one proof, we're not God. You know it otherwise. God knows everything. This is proof we're not God. We don't even know a little verse in the Bhagavad Gita. 15:19. Krishna says, whoever knows me as the Supreme Personality of Godhead without doubting is the knower of everything. Simple as that. Very simple. He therefore engaged himself in full devotional service unto me, O son of Bharat. Knowing Krishna means knowing everything. At least knowing that Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. The essence of all knowledge. What's the purpose of all knowledge? What does Krishna say? Also in the 15th chapter. Most quoted verse, Prabhupada quoted this verse more than any other verse in the Gita. 15:15. What is that? Good. Savasya Visanivishto. Vedanta krit vedavid evachaham. Oh, the second part of that verse. Both parts are relevant. There's two-parted verse. What's the second part mean? Vedaisya sarviraham eva vedyo Vedanta krit vedavid evachaham. What does it mean? By all the Vedas am I to be known. I am the knower of the Vedas and the compiler of the Vedas. The purpose of all the Vedas, which means knowledge, is to know Krishna. That's the purpose. So if you know the purpose, as that verse I mentioned last night, Yavan Artu Udapane Sarvatak Samplato Decay, all purposes served by a small reservoir are automatically served by a great body of water. Small pond are served by a great reservoir of water. Similarly, one who knows the purpose of the Vedas, all the purposes of the Vedas are immediately available, served to them. You don't need to do anything else. You've understood the goal behind it. The whole purpose of the Veda is not just to know Veda, it's to know the goal behind, the purpose behind it, what's behind it, the source of the Veda. That's knowledge. That's real knowledge. So one who knows that, one who is without doubting, Krishna says, is to be understood to be the knower of everything. So that's like here. One's supposed to be the knower of everything. One should not therefore remain in material perplexity, but should approach a spiritual master. This is the purport of this verse. So when we actually are in consciousness now, what is there to be afraid of? What is there to be perplexed by? We know that isn't everything going on under the direction of Krishna? That's what we heard yesterday. Everything's going on under Krishna's direction. Krishna is everywhere. We also heard that. So what is there to be afraid of? Whatever we see in front of us is a reaction or a result of the mixture of the modes of nature. And the spirit soul is, I think we mentioned that yesterday, it's superfluous. It has nothing to do with the soul. We're just watching these interactions going on, and we're becoming very bewildered, disturbed, perplexed, fearful, and so on and so forth, because we're forgetting who we are. We're forgetting what's actually going on here. We've forgotten. We're in illusion. The Bhagavad Gita, Krishna is trying to wake Arjuna up. Wake up, Arjuna. We're like in a dream. Well, who is the man in material perplexities? He who does not understand the problems of life. In the Aranyaka Upanishad, the perplexed man is described as follows. Yovaitad aksharam bhagavit samatsamal lokat paiti sakripanaha. He is a miserly man who does not solve the problems of life as a human, and who thus quits this world like the cats and the dogs without understanding the science of self-realization. So he's Karpanya, one who does not understand that the human form of life is meant for self-realization. That's the only purpose of human life, ultimately. There may be, so many other, let's say, interim purposes, but the actual purpose of human life is to jivasya, is to inquire about the nature of the absolute truth. That's the purpose of this human form of Karpanya dosha. This human form of life is not meant for material pursuit, but to understand our spiritual identity, our eternal constitution. That's Dharma. And if religion doesn't help us to do that, it's also not really religion at all. That's why Krishna, at the end of the Bhagavad Gita, he talks about Dharma quite a bit in the Bhagavad Gita, in the 4th chapter or so. Krishna emphasizes his purposes of coming to establish Dharma in the world. We don't have time to talk about that, but in the 18th chapter we see Krishna talks about Dharma again. What does he say? Perhaps the most famous verse for many people in the Bhagavad Gita. What is it? It's a verse to contemplate. It's not as easy as it sounds. It's sort of, and oftentimes we wonder, what does Krishna say? Give up all forms of religion and surrender unto me. What does it mean? You give up being a Christian, you become irreligious? So what does it mean? You give up Hinduism, you give up Muslim, Islam? No. Does it mean that? Not necessarily. What does it mean? Because most people's idea of religion is, there's like 7 accepted religions in the world or something. You give them all up or what? I mean, what's it meant to be? What's it mean? Give up all forms. What does it mean? I thought we were supposed to follow religion. Krishna's saying, give it up now. Deep subject, Contemplate it. We're not talking on that. You should think about it carefully, what Krishna, find out what he's referring to there. Of course, the essence of it is not necessarily giving up. There's 2 sides to most statements. One is the secondary, tashta, and then there's the fruit, or the primary purpose of that. The primary purpose of that verse is not to give up, but it's to accept. To accept what? Yes, and give up all forms of religion, and what else you're supposed to do? Not just don't become a Mayavadi, just give up everything and just be a Mayavadi. No, what do? Prapanam. You surrender, and the same word mentioned here. Full circle. Prapanam. Surrender. I'm a soul, now surrendered unto you. I'm giving up all my other attachments, my other identities, my other shelters. I'm giving up everything. I completely take shelter of you. It's like, give an example. You're chanting your japa. Okay? Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama. Spiritual master comes along. Excuse me, Prabhu, and well, he might not call you Prabhu, but excuse me, Can you help me now? Can you come with me? No, no, Guru Maharaj, I'm chanting my japa. I'm too busy, I'm chanting my japa. Would that be proper behavior? Would that be correct? What do you think? Sringananda? Pardon? You would just drop it. So the same thing with Krishna. If Krishna, imagine if you were doing the arati or something onto the deities, and Krishna would personally walk in his, deity is also Krishna, but you can imagine what I'm saying. Krishna will walk in, come with me. No, I'm busy. I'm offering arati. I'm offering you arati. I'm offering you arati. No, come with me. No, I'm busy. I can't come. Crazy, isn't it? But sometimes we're like that, like machines. Anyway, that's another topic. The human form of life is the most valuable asset for the living entity who can utilize it for solving the problems of life. Therefore, one who does not utilize this opportunity properly is a miser. So this is the broad understanding of a miser. You've got a human body, you're not utilizing it properly. You've got money, you don't utilize it. You're called a miser. Isn't it? Miser leads to misery. So you're a miser. You've got a human body, you have to know what it's meant for. If you don't, you're a miser. Use it properly. On the other hand, there is the Brahmin, or he who is intelligent enough to utilize this body to solve all the problems of life. Yaetad aksharang gargi vidit vasmal loka praitisa brahmana. That's the opposite of the one before. The only difference was the word kripana, and this one is brahmana. The kripanas, or miserly persons, waste their time in being overly affectionate. Of course, affection is naturally going to be there, but overly affectionate for family, society, country, etc., in the material conception of life. One is often attached to a family member, namely to wife, children, and other members, on the basis of skin disease. What's skin disease? Dr. Shanti, you must have treated people with skin disease. What is skin disease? What's that?
Any problem with the skin.
Problems with the skin, yeah, skin disease. Is that what Prabhupada is referring to here? So he said it says skin disease. He said the very word he uses is skin disease. On the basis of skin disease. What does he mean? Singashwar is just revealing himself. He's great. He's the most advanced personality. I'm the most learned person in the world, and so on. Yeah, that's, you could say, the effect of skin disease is this type of thinking. But that skin disease is you identify with the skin, huh? Most of you have got brown skin, different degrees of brown, right? I'm Mr. Brown skin. I'm whiter. I'm more whitey, olivey. I'm Mr. Olive. He's Mr. White. You're Mr. In England, we have Mr. Brown. We have Mr. Olive. We have their names. Which people have got. What's their name? Mr. Brown. Common name in England, Mr. Brown. Mr. Black is another common name. Mr. White is another common name. Mr. Green. I don't know how they got these names, but they got these names. They're common. Anyway, we identify with that, and it means identifying with your place of birth, basically speaking. That I'm Malaysian, I'm Indian, I'm Sri Lankan, I'm whatever your family is, Carolan, this thing, that thing. I'm English, he's French. What else we got here? He's anyone from anywhere else? Singaporean? Oh no, you're not a Singaporean, but you're living in Singapore. Sing, very poor in Singapore. They're very poor down there. They sing, but they're very poor. Otherwise everyone will come there looking for money. We identify with the body. And I mean, look at all the problems in the world today. One person identifies themselves being Ukrainian, one person identifies with being Russian, isn't it? And automatically, like it or not, you are enemies. In one sense. You may not feel that, but you are actually in opposite parties fighting with each other. You know, the opposite team. Or in Gaza, like that. People identify with these things, whether it's body, religion, race, gender, Latin, you name it. Every single aspect of our material condition, we tend to identify with it, and thus we have this problem of, you know, perplexity or friction, imbalance, and so on and so forth with others, based on this skin disease, both individually as well as collectively. One is often weird. The creepener thinks that he is able to protect his family members from death, or the creepener thinks that his family or society can save him from the verge of death. This is another illusion of this miserly mentality. Such family attachment can be found even in the lower animals, who take care of children also, being intelligent. Arjuna could understand that his affection for family members and his wish to protect them from death were the causes of his perplexities. In other words, we think we're the doer. You know, we're putting ourselves in it. We think we're the doer. We can make it happen. This is another thing we have to give up. This idea. We don't give up working. We give up this idea that I'm the doer. We work as a matter of duty. Although he could understand that his duty to fight was awaiting him, still on account of miserly weakness, he could not discharge the duties. He is therefore asking Lord Krishna, the Supreme Spiritual Master, to make a definite solution. What am I to do? What's the right thing to do? He offers himself to Krishna as a disciple. Now Prabhupada said there's only one essential prayer or request which he made of his spiritual master. And there's a whole chapter in Prabhupada Leela and Rita with this title. And what is that? What did Prabhupada ask his spiritual master? He said, this is the only real question you must ask.
How can I serve you?
How can I serve you? It's not, I want to do this, please give me permission. You know, oftentimes we approach the spiritual master or representative of the spiritual master. What should I do? Well, maybe you can do this. Well, no, I can't do that. But, you know, can you tell me what can I do? Okay, do this. No, I can't do that. Until you come to what you want to do, spiritual master eventually says what you yourself think you want to do. Oh, thank you, Guru Maharaj, for telling me to do that. You go around telling everybody, my Guru Maharaj told me I must do this. Whatever you say, it doesn't mean anything. My Guru told me to do this. He didn't. You wouldn't do anything else, so therefore, at least you do something. But it's what, you know, the way we see it, not the way Krishna sees it. Wrong way around. He offers himself to Krishna as a disciple. He wants to stop friendly talks. Talks between the master and disciple is serious. And now Arjuna wants to talk very seriously before a recognized spiritual master. Krishna is therefore the original spiritual master of the science of Bhagavad Gita, and Arjuna is the first disciple for understanding the Gita. How Arjuna understands the Bhagavad Gita is stated in the Gita itself. That's a key line. How one understands it. And yet foolish mundane scholars explain that one need not submit to Krishna as a person, but to the unborn within Krishna. There is no difference between Krishnas within and without, and one who has no sense of this understanding is the greatest fool in trying to understand Bhagavad Gita. Now it's coming on to another topic, or let's say a philosophical understanding of the nature of Krishna, which is essential if we're to understand Bhagavad Gita. Not a question of just learning verses and extracting some kind of interpretation, but it's to understand things from the Krishna conscious or Krishna's point of view. That's why Prabhupada is quoting, as it is. It's not as I see it, as I understand it, but as it is, from Krishna's perspective. This is Krishna's book. He is speaking. Prabhupada will say, if you want to interpret, write your own book, but don't call it Bhagavad Gita. As it is. Krishna is personally speaking to Arjuna. Surrender unto me. It doesn't say surrender unto the unborn within me, but surrender unto me. Okay, time and tide wait for no man. It's after 9 o'clock. Any comments? Tomorrow we'll carry on with Dharma. A little bit, if we're still allowed to, if we're still here, see what the world situation is. You never know. We have to be ready for anything. But we prepare ourselves for anything by taking shelter of Krishna. And the easy way that Lord Chaitanya has given in this age, Dharma in this age, particularly Kale Kalera Dharma, what is it? It means in this age of Kali, the Dharma is Kale Kalera Dharma. What is it? Krishna Nam Sankirtan, the chanting of Krishna's name. This is the Dharma for Kali Yuga. There's no other Dharma. Harinama, Harinama, Harinama Kevalam. There is no other way. Kalonastheva in Kali Yuga. So this is the Dharma for this age, the constitution for this age, constitutional activity for this age, responsible duty for this age is chanting the name of God. That's the Dharma. So let's chant the name of Krishna. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Krishna Krishna.
Krishna Krishna.
Hare Hare.
Hare Hare.
Hare Rama.
Hare Rama.
Hare Rama.
Hare Rama.
Rama Rama.
Rama Rama.
Hare Hare.
Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna. Okay.
Any questions?
Somebody wants to say something? Oh, okay.
Hare Krishna Guru Maharaj. Relating with Guru and also because Guru Maharaj mentioned about Guru, in Hari Bhakti Vilas verse 2.147, it is stated that one should hide one's Guru, one should hide one's mantra, and one should hide one's Japamala.
Oh.
Can I please have more understanding of that, Guru Maharaj?
Yeah, you dig a hole in the ground, isn't it? Put the Guru in there, hide him in the hole, and no one can see him. That's a good idea. That's what it means, isn't it? Hiding the bead bag is not a problem. I mean, that happens regularly. And so many times you can not find your bead bag, you know, you can't remember where you left it. And what was the other one?
Hide one's Guru, hide one's mantra, and
One's what?
mantra.
Mantra. Hide your mantra, yeah, hide it.
And one should hide one's Japamala.
One's
Japamala.
Japamala, yeah. Well, there's not much problem hiding your mantra if you never chant it. You've got to chant it in the first place. So most of the time where some things coming out the mouth, but how much is really, you know, pure. Yeah, we hide ourselves is the best thing. Yeah, you have to hide everything. Harry, back to you the last. Well, in this particular case, of course, it has to be understood, you could say, in terms of the time, place, and circumstance. Hari Bhakti Vilas is very much written by Sanatana Goswami according to time, place, and circumstance. And it has to be understood in that case. Some verses, especially like this one, have to be understood in a deeper sense. Now, hiding one's Guru is one doesn't go around making a campaign. I'll give a simple example within ISKCON, for instance. You know, putting up placards everywhere, vote for my Guru. Take initiation from my Guru. He's the only one. Your guru is no good. No, he's no good. My guru. Here he is, my guru, my guru, my guru, my guru. You don't do that. It's very, just a simple example. You could go on and on and on with different examples, different aspects of this. Every situation is a little bit different. Hiding one's japa mala. This again is a smarter, mostly smarter aspect. They never show their japa mala. Many of the Gaudiya Mathaboas also follow that. Not all, many. They never show their japa mala. Prabhupada didn't follow that. He didn't follow it. Well, it's not that we, go around with our japa mala like this. Look at my mala, they're better than yours. Look, my shiny mala, look at them, perfectly carved. Cool, look at your mala. What, oh, dear me. No wonder you're a lousy devotee. Look at your mala. No good for nothing. You could have mala like mine. You don't advertise it like that, The whole point of Lord Chaitanya's movement is Trinadapi Nichena Tarodya, so she become humble and tolerant. And what was the other one? Middle one? Mantra, yeah. Well, that's particularly referring, it's not my mantra, but that's referring to the Gayatri mantra particularly. Yeah. Vedic mantras. They are generally not. They're given to specifically eligible persons. They're not given to everyone. The Maha mantra does not fit into that category. It's not a Vedic mantra. It's a transcendental mantra. It's above. It's Maha mantra. It's above all these categories. When you're engaged in pure devotional service, it rises above that. Even when you say hide one's guru, it depends what we mean. In the real sense of the term, of course, we don't hide our guru. But what does that mean? We have to understand the mission or the message of the guru. We don't hide that in any way. We broadcast it widely. And obviously, it's going to be all the books, on every book on the front page, you will see His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. It's not hidden. It's on every single book. It's not just on every single book, it's regularly throughout the books in various places, with pictures and so on and so forth. So what do? You hide your guru? And there are so many statements like this about even worship and so on and so forth. We have to rise above that. Its purpose, this movement, is not just an institutional varna ashram purpose that may be useful, but it's actually to deliver us out of this world altogether. And the real guru is Krishna. Ultimately, Krishna is the supreme guru. So one who is completely surrendered to Krishna is inseparable. He's as good as Krishna. We don't hide him exactly, but we don't, not artificial about it. But we have to realize what that is as well. It's not just a matter of a name, a cult, or whatever it is, the real meaning of guru. But you'll find in Hari Bhakti Vilas, Prabhupada even writes that it was specifically written for India, specifically written to counter, or not say counter, but to satisfy the smarter Brahmins and to follow Vedic systems. Many of these statements are coming from smarter Brahmin, or let's say traditional Brahminical ways of say life or whatever. They're not necessarily Vaishnava. And to satisfy them, Sanatana Goswami compiled the Hari Bhakti Vilas, Gopalbhatta Goswami's great knowledge on these things, so that they would accept, the Gaudiya Vaishnavism, the philosophy would be accepted. So these type of things, many of these rules and regulations are particularly practiced by those who are following these strict Vedic standards. Strict Vedic standards. When you have a Satguru and a guru who is eternal associate of the Lord, something a little different, of course. Otherwise we don't advertise our guru on some kind of like a political campaign or something. Not like that. Hare Krishna. So hide the prasadam as well. To hide the prasadam. Have you hidden the prasadam? Is the prasadam hidden? No, yeah. Didn't you hear that just now? Hide back to your last. Doesn't it say you have to hide the prasadam? No? Didn't say that? No?
Doesn't say that.
Doesn't say that, okay.
Sadhana.
Pardon?
Never hide prasadam.
Never hide prasadam. Huh? Okay, don't forget, don't hide prasadam. Even Prabhupada said that we shouldn't stash it and hide it away for the next day. We do that, I know, but we're not supposed to. Brahmins don't do that. Do they? Lord Chaitanya did. It must be okay. He was stashing prasadam like anything. Did you know that? Lord Chaitanya was stashing prasadam, you know. All the devotees would constantly be bringing him prasadam, you know, different types of condiments, dried foods from Bengal and here and that for festivals. Lord Chaitanya was apparently just keeping it in a room. And one day when Govinda, you know, said the devotees, you know, you're not tasting the prasadam, Lord, they're not satisfied, they're bringing it, you're not eating it. So Lord Chaitanya, where is that prasadam? He just opened the door, and in one sitting, he just consumed a whole room full of prasadam in one go. One go. We can't imitate that. Tell me, can you? No. So generally speaking, we don't. But I mean, we don't want to waste prasadam, obviously. But we don't like. No, last thing at night, you know, Bajari stashes all the prasadam for the morning, for breakfast or something. No prasad for anyone else. You don't do that. Oh, talking about prasadam, hiding prasadam. Woohoo! Look at this. You can't see it, so it must be all for me. Woohoo! Whoa! You have to hide it from them, otherwise they might get their senses may get the better of them. Right? Only you know this is there. Okay, hide your beads now, quickly. Put your beads away. Don't show your beads. Ooh. I'll tell you one little quick anecdote. I remember when I first joined the temple, and you know, if you have your japa beads, we'd be chanting japa. It was, I don't know if this came from Prabhupada, I doubt, probably not, but it was a standard. You know, very few beads were available, by the way, those days. You never had extra beads. You had to scrape around to get one set of beads. Most of the time you had to chant on your fingers. So that solves the problem. If you don't have any beads, that solves that problem. You don't have to hide your fingers. Just chant on your fingers. That's problem solved, doesn't it? And next one, guru. You don't have to. You just don't have a guru. Then you don't have to hide him. Don't need one. Huh? Just don't have one. Any of those don't have. Just hide him. And the other one, hiding one, mantra. Well, you just don't chant. Easy, huh? No, it's not. So anyway, we would be chanting japa, and if a guest came in to the temple, you had to give your beads straight away to that guest. Yeah. No matter who they were. Didn't even wash their hands. We give it to the guest and sit them down and teach them how to chant japa. They'd never been to the temple before. You immediately sit them down and show them how to chant japa on your beads. And they would use the beads and we would use our fingers. That's how it was when I joined. So we weren't trained up like that, I'm afraid. We didn't have the Hari Bhakti Vilas in those days. So we weren't familiar with these different rules.
Even says hide the deity.
Hide the deity, yeah. Especially those who are faithless, infidels. If you have no hands, you have a hard time chanting on your japa anyway in the first place. You'll have no beads to hide either. Unless you can chant on your toes. With your toes, no. Yeah, if you have no hands, you just chant with your mouth. You can use something to count with. Something. Well, Hare Krishna, all goes to Srila Prabhupada. Thank you very much. Hari Bol.
So thank you everyone for joining.